Hi everyone, it's good to see you. How are you all? Hope you are doing great every single day and you are practicing your English speaking as well. Anyway, so I am finally back with another new video, and today I am actually going to talk about animals. Okay, all right, so as per our previous videos that I actually told you that I am going to start all of the videos that I am actually making, which are impromptu. That means I don't have any kind of preparation from previous. Okay, so I am just taking the question and randomly I am going to answer all of those questions. Okay, so resulting into what actually happens is, so on that moment you will definitely be able to actually encounter in the real life conversation. Okay, so you will be able to actually understand what can be the real life conversation going on. Okay, so I hope that you will be able to actually get a solid understanding, and as I mentioned always that I am making all of the videos which is absolutely raw videos without making any kind of editing. Okay, all right, so now let's move on, uh, talking about animals. Okay, the first questions: do you like animals? Yes, I would have to actually say yes or not a doubt. I love animals. In fact, whenever I actually see that there are many animals which are not being able to actually survive properly and in their wildlife environment, so I reckon at times that if I can actually take all of the creatures or all of the animals to me, so I would definitely be able to actually provide a good food or good inhabitation. But since they are wild animals, so I will not be able to actually do that. So for that reason, I actually felt a bit a bit hard for them. Okay, so yeah, I actually love animals. In fact, I actually have a pet in my house, and he that means it's a cat, and the cat is actually took after by my sisters. Okay, all right, now let's move on our next question, that is, what is your favorite animals? Okay, so I love many animals as I told you, but if I would like to actually say more specifically, so I would have to say that I love especially cat and dogs. Okay, so why? Because just think about, there is a reason behind this. The reason of actually liking the cat is they are very much purified, that means pure, and they are a bit fresh compared to the other domestic animals. Okay, and if I would like to actually talk about the dog, so why am I actually telling about, that means the dog? So I would have to actually say that I love dogs because of his faith, and I probably you will also actually notice that kind of videos. Somehow it actually crooked up on your wall, probably if you are a social media guy, or I reckon you have ever actually seen probably this kind of videos that the master actually went away, and the dog was actually waiting for his master. So that means the one condition that I actually love most about dog is they are so much faithful. And not only that, sorry, not only that, uh, they they have a strong sense. That means in terms of actually finding out the guilty person or criminal, most of the times we actually see that these dogs are actually used, that means trained dogs are actually used to find out the culprit. So yeah, I for that reason I actually love these two animals. Okay, now let's move on to our next question, that is, wait just a minute, I have lost Okay, anyway, so I have finally found that. Okay, so what types of animals do you have in your country? Okay, so we have most of the animals which are domestic, and let's say such as we can actually say that cow, goat, and we have sheep, and we have cat, dogs, etc. And there are mostly we actually try to utilize all of those things, and at times people actually consume the halal food, that means the camel, cow, goat. Okay, so these are the things, and buffalo as well. These are the things are a greater source for protein. So yeah, and the people of my country actually at times consume this kind of animals as protein sources. Okay, now let's move on our next question, that is, what types of animals are kept as pets in your country? Mostly there are two types of animals that we actually see, and these are either cat or dog. And I have actually seen there are few people who are actually a bit interested in birds, like different types of birds. It may be parrot, it may be pigeon, etc. But mostly, if I would like to actually say, so most of the times people are actually inclined with cats, and they are actually cozy, and they are pure, and they actually helps the owner to find out the rat, and resulting into they are not actually having to struggle a lot. And at times the shopkeepers also prefer to actually have this kind of cat in their business station. Why? Because when there is a cat, so there is a cat, on that moment there is a high chance that there will not actually be many rodent or rats. Okay, so resulting into the owner, the business owner can actually lower or reduce or diminish their goods from spoiling. So I think that's a good idea to actually have a cat in their business institutions. And yeah, that's the very common pets in our country. People actually keep as their pet animals in their house. Okay, so now let's move on our next question, that is, do you think animals should be kept in zoos? Okay, when it's zoo. All right, so yeah, it actually depends on the animals. Okay, for example, if we have the abundance of the animals, and if we actually keep this in the zoo, that would not be suitable, I reckon. Because just think about, if I actually just take a dog, and if I imprison him, so it's not a big deal, and it's not a big issue, because we should actually keep the animals which is scarce, that means which is not actually found everywhere nowadays, and these animals is at high stake or danger. So on that moment we can actually rescue them, and we can actually feed them as well, and to help them to grow actually. And another thing that I would like to actually say is, always remember, the animals which are wild, that means they are actually most suitable in their own habitats. And I reckon that if we actually keep the animals in zoo, so I reckon that it's not a good idea, because there are two different schools of thought about it. Because one, people actually might think, oh my, in a way that okay, if you actually keep this, people will be able to actually know about the animals, about the behaviors, and people will be able to actually study as well. Yes, which is a good thing. But at the same time, and when we actually imprison any animals, so we are actually taking the freedom of his of his life. Because just think about, if he was in the jungle or forest on the moment, he could do whatever he want, right? So but in the zoo, that means in his own confinement, so he does not have that kind of options, okay, resulting into they actually lose their freedom. So that is also, we should actually concern about that. Yes, as I told you, that we need to actually imprison the animals which is actually rare, at the same time which are so much dangerous for the animal, for other animals, and the human beings as well. So yeah, and we can actually confine that kind of animals at the zoo. Yeah. Okay, now let's move on our next question, that is, do you have a pet when you are a child? Okay, so let me share you an interesting story. When I was in school, I, along with one of my friends, actually managed somehow a kid of dog. Okay, so we used to actually play with the dogs very much, and in fact we have lots of moments with this. So I don't want to actually recall, and all of a sudden, when it actually became our best friends, on that moment we actually realized that some of our enemies actually stole that very cat, sorry, that very dog. Okay, so we actually searched a lot, but we actually didn't find the dog. So yeah, it was on that moment a bit sad moment, but overall, if I would like to actually share my own experiences, I enjoyed a lot. And right now I am actually enjoying, as I told you, that my sisters is actually taking care of a cat that we have actually. So yeah, and I actually at times enjoy with this. And but the attraction that I actually had with me with the dog, it's literally incredible. Okay, all right, so that's what about it for the time being. Thank you. Okay, now let's move on our next question, that is, did you, okay, I already answered that question. Okay, would you like to have a pet in the future? Of course, I am actually thinking of keeping a cat, because there are some reasons behind this. And number one, when I actually have heard that the cat is pure, that means he does not like actually the dirty or filthy things. So I wouldn't actually know since last year. So from all of a sudden, I actually came to know that the cat is a very clean, a clean pet animal. So and then I actually thought that yes, okay, in future I may actually adopt any cat as well. Anyway, so this is number one. And the number two, if I would like to actually say, I the place where I actually stay, there is no one. Okay, so I actually live alone. So I reckon that if I actually have a cat, so I will definitely be able to actually spend my quality time with this cat, by playing with the cat. So for that reason, I can actually adopt that. And last but not least, the reason of actually of actually thinking of keeping this animal, that is, I have my own PC and there are many rodents as well. So if once I actually keep this cat, I hope that this problem will be actually minimized. Yeah, and then I will be actually be happy in a minimal way. Okay, so that's why I will definitely keep a cat in future. Okay, now let's move on our next question, that is, do you have a pet? Okay, as I told you, right now I don't have any pet, but my sisters has a cat. Okay, so I at times play with him. Yeah, that's what. And I used to have actually a dog. Okay, all right. Now let's move on our next question. That is, wait. Okay. Why do people have pets? Okay, there may be couple of reason, and as I told you that I already mentioned some of the points in my previous question, answering of that question. Okay, so anyway, so I reckon that yes, people like to actually have the pets for passing their time, and those who are actually lonely and they don't have anything, and they're not being able to actually be productive, and we are actually living in an era that means this is quite tough to actually coming out from there. So which is a big which is the big, not big, I will have to say, which is the biggest hurdle, because uh, we should actually detox ourselves from this kind of social media and all the platforms, and because of being too much aligned with that kind of things, we are not being able to actually concentrate, and we are actually losing our focusing point as well. And a new term that you already familiar with, that is the AI. So artificial intelligence, oh my goodness, it is literally replacing the man. Okay, so there is a hard reality. That means, just think about, if you are a person and you are actually thinking of improving your life, and you are working on that. Okay, so first of all, just think in a way that you actually learned how to type. Okay, now you actually learned all of the things how to type. Okay, so you actually learn, but on the contrary or conversely, and another person, they actually didn't learn this. Okay, and why? Because there are many AI bot that we can actually write whatever we want by commanding our own voice, right? Voice type. Okay, so what's the point of actually learning this? Okay, spending too much time. Okay, so this is a very low example that I actually put here, but there are lots of things that I can actually tell you, and I am sure that if I would like to actually say all of the things, I I will be actually stopped. Why? I will not be able to actually finish the ultimate. That means where this AI is actually functioning. Okay, I will not be able to actually say all of the things, and I am sure that if the days goes and night comes, nothing will actually happen. That means I will not be able to actually complete all of the things as I am actually going to talk. That means if I would like to actually say about the invention of AI, oh my goodness, that means it is actually rolling the world, and it will actually rule the world as well. Okay, so yes, we need to be very skilled person with uh, coping with this rapid change, otherwise we may actually in disuse. Okay, and or derelict, because there are already many AI which can actually do everything, most of the jobs. And let me clarify one thing, that is which types of job is at very risk. So I would have to actually say which is actually done inside the computer. I mean, whatever the white collar jobs, and these kind of jobs will be infected a lot by AI. Okay, so, and what types of jobs will be relevant in the future? That is the technical skills, the technical knowledge. Okay, like technician, welding expert, and who else? Something like that, plumbing. Okay, so these are the skills that AI not be able to actually do that, because it's a bit hard. This kind of artificial intelligence we actually didn't see so far, and it can be actually said that yes, it will also be in the future for a long time. But the jobs which is actually done inside the computer, that means whatever computer related jobs will be hugely impacted due to the AI. Okay, all right, so now let's move on. So what was I actually telling you about? Why do people have pets? Okay, so whenever they are actually so much engaged with that kind of medias, so if they would like to actually coming back from that kind of things, so they at times actually try to prefer to have a cat, because to become detox from that kind of things. Okay, so I reckon that this is a good idea to actually coming out from that kind of scenario. Okay, so for that reason most of the people actually prefer to have pet in their own house. Okay, now let's move on our next question, that is should dogs be left in the house alone while their owners are at work? Of course, they should actually left their dogs at home, because it will actually works like a guard, okay, doorman. Okay, so let me share an interesting incident. That means I already have heard this from my teachers, and he said that his friend has a dog, and which is a foreign dog, and he used to actually live in their house alone, and when he actually earned for his job, so on that moment there were their dogs, and at the dead night, and some of the actually robbers got into their house, and the dog actually captured them and hold them and hold them, so that they actually cannot go. And in the morning they saw that there are lots of things actually happened, and the dog was actually waiting for his master, and the robbers actually surrendered, and they were actually beaten by the dogs brutally, and some there were probably 10 people actually came, and among them eight person were dead, spot dead, and two were in a bad situation. Okay, so yes, that means for keeping our for keeping our home safe, we need to actually keep the dogs. So that's what I actually think. Okay, now let's move on our next question, that is what was that? Is there any type of animal that you think should not be kept as a pet? Okay, so it's a bit tough question, and if I would like to actually say, so I would have to say yes, and I would have to say the monkey. Why? Because this is a funny thing, by the way. Why am I actually telling this? Okay, so there is a monkey, and the monkey is very dangerous. Why? Because it actually behaves like a man. That means what we actually do, they do the same. For example, if I actually throw something, he will also throw me something. Okay, so it's a bit tough. So let's say I am actually a bit angry, and if I throw something, he will also do the same. That means he may actually destroy lots of things, and not only that, they have too much nail, which are so sharp. Okay, so resulting into we may actually get a fight with that kind of animals. Okay, so for that reason I reckon that we should never ever actually keep this kind of animals at our home, okay, as a pet. All right, now let's move on our next topic. This is all about bag and Bags and boat. Okay. All right. So the first question is, have you ever taken a ride on a boat? Yes, I can still remember when I was in school. So on that moment, we actually saw many floods in the rainy season, and we were actually surrounded by the water. So that means my parents actually thought that we need to actually move somewhere from there, because the water was actually water was actually rising, and we had lots of flood on that moment. And we for that reason, what that means, the overall roads actually went down the water. Okay, so we didn't have any vehicles, and the only one options, that is boat. So yes, so I actually did this journey with the help of boat. So when I was in school, so that was my first time, and last time, I could say. Okay, now let's move on our next question. That's, do you like traveling by boat? I love to actually travel by boat when I actually see different types of blogs of other countries' people, because I realized that because of not having too much traffic jam or congestion in their country, they utilize their rivers so much. Okay, and when they are traveling, they have many yachts and the boat, and they spend lots of things, right? To travel anywhere. Okay, they have their own special even ship as well. Okay, so yeah, and I love to actually travel by boat, but I never ever actually got that kind of a chance. But I hope that one day I will definitely fulfill my own dream of traveling by boat. Okay, that's what I can actually say. All right, now let's move on our next question. That is, what are the advantages of traveling by boat? Okay, so the first thing I need to actually say is, whenever we are in the boat, so on that moment we can actually feel the wave of the river. Okay, that means we will be able to actually enjoy the whole view of the river. Not only that, we can also feel the breeze, the what is the suitable word for that, the air, the reach. I need to actually find out that. Okay, I forgot that. Anyway, so the air. Okay, so we can actually feel that. Not only that, we can also more. I would have to actually say, this is the crucial. That means, in my country, those who are boatmen, at the time of actually riding that means at the time of actually steering their boat, so they sing different types of song, which is like Batiali, and which is so much common in our country. Okay, so we can actually enjoy that as well, and we can also see the fish in the river. Okay, and not only that, we can also discover many of the birds like heron. Okay, so etc. So I reckon that yes, overall, I I will be able to actually get that kind of advantages. And most importantly, there is no congestion. Okay, so in the river there is nothing. Okay, and we need to actually go with the flow like this way. So yeah, that's what we can actually get when we will do the boat journey. Okay, all right, now let's move on our next question. That is, do people in our country like to travel by boat? Sorry, do people in your country like to travel by boat? Uh, no, not really, because most of the times it actually takes a bit time. For example, if I would like to actually go from here, wait, from here to here. So if I would like to actually think about going from here to here with the help of bus, for example, it is actually taking 10 minutes. Okay, so if I would like to actually utilize the bikes, it might take 5 minutes. If I would like to actually utilize any other vehicles, probably 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, all right. Now the same distance, if I would like to actually go with the help of the board, so it might take more than 30 minutes. So isn't it too much? So that means it is actually too much time consuming, resulting into most of the times we actually try to circumvent or avoid this kind of things. Okay, so yeah, overall, if they have their own time and they would like to actually get the fun with the enjoyment and with the journey, so I will highly recommend to actually go for that. Okay, so that's what I can actually say. Anyway, now let's move on our next question, that is, will it get more popular in the future? Of course it will be actually popular. Why? Let me explain a bit. Just think about, we have loads of peoples, number one, okay, and the places, that means our area is actually fixed. We have lots of people, and the number of actually birth rate is much better than the death rate. Okay, so what actually happens is, so the land is actually fixed, there are loads of buildings, that means there are more people. More people means what? There are more places is actually required to actually have the buildings, the schools, hospitals, and everything, right? That means there are loads of infrastructure. Okay, all right. So what actually happens is, so since the place is actually fixed and the number of people is actually growing, and we don't have any other options, resulting into we actually get stuck everywhere. That means we actually face every single day traffic jam, right? So no matter how many flyovers we are actually making, we have lots of flyovers. Apart from all of those things, they are also trying to actually utilize more and more flyovers, but that is not the ultimate solution. Okay, and it is not actually it is not actually actually providing the good services as well. Okay, no matter how many flyovers we actually have. So in this respect, if we can actually utilize the river, we have lots of rivers as well. If we can actually utilize these rivers, so I reckon that yes, it is possible to actually come out from that kind of traffic jam. Okay, so yes, it's my assumption, by the way, and people will be so much interested in utilizing their river. That means they can actually move anywhere with the help of boat journey. That's what I reckon. Okay, all right, now let's move on our next question, that is, do you like bags? Of course I love actually bags. Why? Just think about, if I would like to actually go anywhere, so I always try to actually keep one small bag with me, because no one knows what can actually happen. And if I would like to actually share a story, once I was actually going to the town, so luckily I actually took one extra t-shirt and pants with me, and when I was actually going there, and on my way of going, on my way, that means when I was actually going to the town, so all of a sudden it's a bit absurd. Okay, anyway, so I was actually waiting for the bus. So meanwhile, from the upstairs, okay, someone actually threw some dirty waters, okay, and it actually fell in my dress. Okay, so I was actually going probably for my interview. So when I actually faced that, oh my goodness, what will I actually do? And I actually tried a lot to find out, and I already complained against the owner of that building. However, so on that moment, so what I actually faced is, so now right now I will not be able to actually come back to my home and wearing the dress I will actually go there. No, I don't have that kind of option. So what I actually did is, so I actually, that's a good idea, and then I actually wore my t-shirt and I went to the interview, and they were literally shocked. Hey, who are you and why have you come? So I said I have actually came here to attend an interview. They said, really? Are you kidding? So I said, no, why? Why are you actually telling me like this? He said that, what have you actually worn? So I said t-shirt, and they, when I actually told them the overall scenario, they actually understood and told me, okay, no problem, thank you for actually clarifying all of those things. So that's what they actually say. Okay. Anyway, so I actually got that kind of opportunity or advantages because of having this bag. So yes, from that very time I always try to carry a single bag with me, whatever that means. I always try to actually keep some first aid related related equipments and my dress as well. That's what I always prefer. Okay, now let's move on our next question, that is, what types of bag do you like? Okay, so I always try to actually keep a backpack, okay, because it is too much easy to actually convey, because whatever to carry as well, because wherever we are actually going, if we have the college bag or tote bag, so it is a bit irritating. But whenever we have actually backpack, I don't have any, just I am actually walking right randomly, and yeah, it actually helps me not to take too much extra pressure. So I love to actually keep this kind of backpack. Okay, now let's move on our next question, that is, do you usually carry a bag when you go out? Of course, as I told you that yes, I always try to actually prefer to have a bag with me. And another story that I would like to actually say is, as I told you that I always try to actually keep a bag with me. So I went to a picnic spot, and during that a moment I actually took my bag, and there were luckily an umbrella in my bag. So going there, when that means the temperature was so high, that means the overall environment was too much tropical, okay, tropical weather. And those who went with me, they actually couldn't visit properly because they were not actually getting any kind of shade. There were no trees. That means the intensity of the sun is too much high, and resulting into they are not being able to actually go anywhere. And they said, oh my goodness, we will not actually see this whole environment later, we will actually come later. Okay, but on that context, what I actually did is, since I actually had the umbrella, with the help of umbrella, I actually took one of my friends, and yes, we actually enjoyed the view and everything. So luckily, because of having this, so I actually got that kind of opportunity. Yes, I always try to prefer to have a bag when I actually go out. And then many of my friends actually was actually copying my ideas. They also carry their bag, and as I actually do. Thank you. Now let's move on our next question, that is, what types of bags do you use in your everyday life? I use a backpack. Okay, it's like a laptop bag. So once I actually go anywhere, so I just try to actually get one of the bags, and inside this bag I can actually keep my own laptop, and I can actually keep my clothes and fast aid related equipments, and yeah, that's what I actually keep always with my backpack. Nobody can actually understand, nobody actually judge about it. Okay, so it's a lightweight, and yeah, I also enjoy to actually have that kind of bags with me. Anyway, now let's move on our next question, that is, what do you put in these bags? Okay, so I always try to actually put most of the things, that means which is actually necessary for surviving. Okay, for example, if I have gone anywhere, and for example, if I have this only bag, I'll be able to at least survive over there. I have literally everything, and ranging from the curtains to the gas lighter, okay, match as well. Because just think about, if think in a different way, that I have actually gone in a forest or any other places and there is no one, I will have to actually stay over there. So what is actually required for me? I will have to actually have a dress. If I actually face any issues, I can actually change, okay. And if I actually need any kind of things to cut or something like that, I need daggers or knife, so I actually have that as well. And if I am actually thinking of cooking something, I always try to actually put to make fire, so I have the candle and the lighter as well. And another thing, I keep some medicines related to first aid. Let's say I am in indigenous, so I have paracetamol or something like that. I'm not sure is it actually suitable or not. Okay, anyway, so if I am actually vomiting, I have anti-vomiting tablet. So yeah, overall I always try to actually keep everything which is actually required for the person who will be in anywhere, okay, to stay anywhere. He will not have to actually face any kind of issues, that kind of that kind of equipments or tools I actually keep in my bag. Yeah. All right, now the next question is, okay, what sorts of bags do women like to buy? Okay, they most of the times love to actually buy the tote bag, or what's the name of this, the small bags, and I actually forgot that name, the small bags which is called oh shit, I actually forgot. Anyway, so that means they always try to actually keep a single bag which is like a tote bag. That means they will have their own makeup makeup box and everything, okay. And they also keep that means for making them up, they actually keep all of the items over there. Since I am female, since I am not actually female, so I will not be able to actually answer that questions properly, but I guess that kind of things they actually keep in their bag, okay. So that's it for the time being, and I hope that you already got some of the inspiration from me. That means how to actually start speaking with your flows, okay. Yes, we have lots of flows as well. I still have, and I actually don't care, because I am totally speaking in another language, okay. So yeah, it's a practicing matter. The more you practice, the more you will be able to utilize that, okay. So that's it for today's guy is, and I hope that you actually got a bit inspiration, or you have been a bit brave, and that I will actually do the same thing. Yes, that's what you can actually do. So I will see you in the next some other video, and I hope that you will be practicing by yourself. So this is Faiz signing off. I will catch you in another video. Thank you.